Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Marlena Lester, and I'm the Director of Advising here at Virginia Tech in the College of Engineering. And the session that you're watching is for our career support with our friends from Career and Professional Development. This is part of our virtual academic advising and course registration process for the College of Engineering's orientation onboarding for new first-time in college students and transfer students. So today we're going to focus specifically on career. We're going to focus on anything and everything that the Office of Career and Professional Development wants to chat about. But I will turn it over to my colleagues Anya Work and Janine Meadows, and they'll do proper introductions of their roles here at Virginia Tech. So thank you all so much for joining. And if you're watching afterwards, thanks for watching the recording.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you all for coming out this afternoon. I'm Anya Work. I'm one of the assistant directors in career and professional development. And I'm joined by my colleague Janine Meadows, and I'll let her introduce herself, and then we can go ahead and get started.
Hello, everyone. I'm Janine Meadows, and I currently serve as the enrollment coordinator for the Cooperative Education and Internship Program. Thank you, Anya.
Yeah. All right. So this afternoon, we're going to talk a little bit about the different ways that you can explore your academic and career interests and the role that career and professional development can serve as you're exploring. So there's a few different pieces that our office works with students. So we do self-assessments to help with that self-exploration, to learn a little bit more about your personality, what are your values, what are your interests, what are your strengths, and what may be different academic majors or career paths align with that self-assessment. We work with students to explore different majors as well as different career paths. And we're going to get into a little bit more of each of these pieces as we go along on the presentation. Now, I don't know how much interactive pieces we can do right now, but I'll keep an eye on the chat just as a way to get you all thinking about different career pathways. I looked at our first destination report from this past year, and I looked up different job titles. I looked up different majors. So take a moment and see if you can guess what major matches up with what job title. And keep in mind that a major could be used more than once. So I don't know if it's possible for people to type in the chat or the question, but I'm curious to see what people think, what major aligns with what job title.
So yeah, I just turned on the chat feature, so you should be able to pop in your things in the chat. And then at the end of our session, we'll also use the Q&A feature. So you should be able to pop in anything in the chat now.
I'll give you all a few seconds to guess. All right, so it seems like maybe some of our attendees are shy, which that's okay. So kind of the spoiler is all of these job titles are actually held by students who majored in aerospace engineering. And the reason why I like to do this is that sometimes students feel like their major really dictates what they're going to do with their careers. Ensure that you might need to have certain types of technical knowledge that are connected to a major and connected to different career paths. But hopefully this exercise has shown you that it's not always linear and you're not restricted. I think especially with aerospace, I meet with a lot of students who think that they are very limited with what they can do with aerospace engineering majors. But as you can see, there's a variety of paths that can be taken. So Janine will talk a little bit later about co-ops and internships, but there's a lot of different ways to get involved and to get experience beyond these internships and co-ops that we maybe sometimes think about. So there are a lot of different professional associations that I encourage you to get involved in. There's also identity-based engineering professional organizations like the Society of Professional Hispanic Engineers. I know for that conference, I have heard from a lot of students that go to that conference and they're able to network and find internships and find full-time job opportunities. There are a lot of different engineering sororities and fraternities and honor societies that I encourage you to take a look at. You can serve as an ambassador for engineering or a mentor, and that's a great way to get experience and some more of those professional competencies like communication and teamwork and problem solving. Research is another great way to get involved and to get experience. Study abroad. Employers look very favorably around study abroad. And I actually just recently met with a student who is studying in Germany this summer and also doing research. So she's doing a few things this summer. And then the last piece, project teams. This is very common in engineering. So there are a lot of different student-based engineering project teams, and they work on a variety of things like model rockets, cars, I mean, just all types of different things. And although maybe that's not an internship or a co-op, a lot of these teams are sponsored by employers, and then those employers will actually recruit from those teams. So that's a good thing to get involved in. And I'll turn it over to Jeannie now to talk a little bit about co-ops and internships.
You, Anya. So, one of the most important things that you should have as an engineering major at Virginia Tech is work experience. Employers are seeking students who have work experience in their career fields. And we also like this quote here, tell me and I will forget, show me and I may remember, involve me and I will understand. And so having a co-op or an internship work experience will really help you solidify your career plans, will help you determine if you're in the major that's the right fit for you. And so there we go. So here is just a data slide that gives you some information on the Cooperative Education and Internship Program. Some of the parents attending today may have participated in our program a long time ago. And so our program is about 70 plus years old. It's been around since 1952. And so we have 2 enrollment options for students. You can work in a full-time position, which is about 40 hours a week, and then you can work less than 31 hours a week in a part-time position. The main thing to remember when seeking a work experience, the first thing you should do is check in with your academic advisors. Academic advisors can take a look at your plan of study and tell you, okay, this coming fall would be a great semester for you to take a work experience. Or next summer would probably be the best for you to take a work experience because you may be missing prerequisite classes to take a work experience that you didn't anticipate. And then when you come back to school, you may not be able to register for the classes that you had intended to take. And so it's very important. Another thing to get started with a work experience is to attend our information session. So to get started with the program, every student at Virginia Tech who's interested in enrolling in the program has to attend an information session. The information session is a broad overview of our program. And then it talks about things you should consider before accepting employment. Do you need help with a job search? You can schedule an appointment with an advisor in our office, a career advisor, and they can help you with a targeted job search. So this slide contains information about our spring enrollment. And you could see in our full-time program, we had 75 students enrolled, and 57 of that 75 were first-time enrollments in the program. And then we had 18 students had come back to the program to enroll for a second or a third time for a work experience. And then in our part-time program, of course, the numbers are smaller. And we had 11 to participate in the spring semester. 6 of them were first-time enrollees. And then in the multiple rotation experience, we had 5 students. So you can see here that this is, we've also provided some first-term salary data for you. And this is very general. It's not major specific. And it's certainly not by geographical location, because in an internship or a co-op that you might do here in Blacksburg, you certainly would be making different salary in, say, the Washington, D.C. area. And so you need to take all of those kind of things into consideration when trying to decide if you're going to take on a work experience. Are you accepting a job that pays you enough money that will allow you to move to a different area? Because cost of living in another area might be very expensive. So your pay might sound great, but those are the kinds of things that you need to explore before you accept a job offer. And then here we also have a few of our employing organizations listed. Peraton is one that's right here in the Blacksburg area. We did have a student at Adidas this past spring, so we were excited about that. And then we have some other local employers. Alltech is down in the Roanoke area, and then several other Virginia employers. Volvo Trucks up in the Dublin area. Luckstone is in the Richmond area, and Westrock. So does anybody have any questions about the program or how it works? Remember, the first thing you have to do as a student who's interested in enrolling is to attend an information session. You can sign up for those on Handshake. So the end result of your co-op or internship experience would be that you have definitely enhanced your classroom learning and you've gained professional development skills in your industry. The program is a guided learning experience where you create a learning objective, and then you go through guided reflection activities throughout the semester. So this participation really helps you to clarify your career objectives. It helps you think about learning objectives and communicate with your employer. And we also have students and employers provide feedback on their work experience. And we have the employers provide the feedback through our employer evaluation. And, you want that feedback on those career ready skills, because you want to make sure that you're gaining those along through your academic career, and that you will be career ready at graduation.
And Janine, I did see a question pop up in the Q&A about the deadline for the co-op program.
Okay, is there a deadline for enrolling? Yes. Yeah, okay, let's do the first question first. There is a deadline for enrolling each semester. So if you're taking on a full-time work experience, about 40 hours per week, then the last day to add for each semester, or the deadline for enrolling, is the last day to add for each semester. So you can follow that on the academic calendar through the registrar's office. We do have other deadlines for part-time enrollment, because with part-time enrollment, you may only work 4 weeks and you may get in 40 hours over that work 4-week period. And so we have other enrollment deadlines which are prolonged through the semester that would allow you to enroll in a short-time internship. But we have all of that information on our website in our Cooperative Education and Internship Program section. Are the internships summer, all year, etc.? Yes. Co-ops and internship terms are used very interchangeably these days. And we just want you to make sure that you understand what an employer, what their definition is of a co-op or an internship. Traditionally, a co-op is multiple rotations with the same employer. And with an internship, it can be a one-time experience over summer. And so we have students enrolled in the full-time and part-time program for one semester, say a fall or a spring. It may be for the full summer. It may be for a spring and summer together, a summer and a fall together. Again, checking in with your academic advisor to see when the best time and length of the work experience would be best for you before you start job searching. Okay, and then another question, if I am searching for a summer internship, should I register in the spring semester? You actually register just prior to the semester that you'll be enrolling. And so right now, this summer, I'm currently working with and enrolling students who will be working during this coming fall semester. And so the semester prior to your internship or co-op experience starting, that would be the time that you would want to attend our info session. And then after that, you have to attend an orientation session. You have to do both. And then we share all of the enrollment details with you during the orientation and enrollment session. And sign up for both of these, as I mentioned earlier, are in a handshake, and every new student at Virginia Tech has a handshake account. So are there any additional questions from these questions? Well, thank you all for asking some questions.
Thank you for answering all those great questions, Janine. Another thing I'll mention before moving on to talking about other topics is whether you get involved in an internship or a co-op or research experience or volunteer experience or whatever it is, these are great opportunities to develop professional skills. So not just the technical skills that we sometimes think about with engineering and computing, like learning about different software programs and different coding languages, but also thinking about those soft skills. And I'm sure the engineering students that I meet with are sick of me talking about this, but I hear so much from engineering employers when I talk to them about what is the most important quality in a candidate. They actually talk about these soft skills. So these are things that can help set you apart, honing your communication skills, honing your leadership skills. So I just wanted to put in a little plug for that. So you might be wondering, who hires Virginia Tech students? This is just a few of the companies from last year's First Destination Report. I know I mentioned this report a little bit earlier, and this is a survey that goes out to graduating seniors. So I know it might be a couple or a few years away, but hopefully as you're getting ready to graduate, you fill out the survey. But graduating seniors let us know, where are they working? Where are they going to graduate school? Are they taking some time off? So these are some of the top employers that hire engineering students from Virginia Tech. Another thing that we help students with that I think maybe students don't always know is that we actually work with students who want to go to graduate school. So if you're interested in going to a master's program or a PhD program or even law school, and medical school, our office can work with you to explore different programs and help you work on application materials like personal statements. And these are just a few of the institutions that some of our engineering students have gone on to for their graduate studies. In terms of what tools can you use to do some exploration around academic majors and around career development, it really depends on what you're looking for. So I would say if you have absolutely no idea what you want to do, whether it's in engineering or just you're really open, I would say self-assessments are a really great tool. So these are things like Type Focus and Tradeify that are up here, because it helps you whittle things down a little bit, because it can kind of be overwhelming to have all these different choices. So it helps to whittle things down, and it helps to build up that vocabulary around some of your interests, so that when you're talking to our office or talking to potential employers, you're able to kind of use that vocabulary around what you're looking for. CareerShift is a really great resource. It's a centralized job search engine, but it can also be good to see, okay, I'm interested in going into mechanical engineering. What kind of jobs are out there right now that are hiring students who are in mechanical engineering? So that's a really great resource. What can I do with this major is exactly what it sounds like. You can look at different majors and see what are different fields that people work in, what types of companies do people work in, what are the professional associations associated with those majors. So there's a lot of great information. And then ONET, that's right above it, does a much deeper dive on different careers. So if you say, okay, electrical engineering, what does electrical engineer do? It goes really in depth into what kind of skills do they do, what's the salary that they typically get, how much education is required. It really does a deep dive there. So I really like ONET. Candid Career, another thing that I'll mention is that our office is actually getting a lot more technology than what's seen here that I think will really help with career exploration. We don't have it just yet, which is why I didn't put it up here, but kind of stay tuned because we'll have a lot more good things for you all to play around with. But Candid Career that we have right now, they're almost like recorded informational interviews. So it's people talking about what are their jobs, what do they like about it, what are their challenges, and what steps did they take to get there. So that's really great. Interview Prep is a 24/7 resource available to students to practice interview questions. So you can certainly make an appointment with our office to do a mock interview, but let's say you get a call one evening and an employer wants to interview you the next day. Well, you're probably not going to get an appointment with our office that night, but Interview Prep is a really good resource that you can use anytime to record yourself answering questions. That's a good resource. And then Going Global, this is great for international students as well as domestic students. So for domestic students, if you are interested in working abroad, for example, I recently worked with a student who wanted to do an internship in Sweden, and some of the expectations, especially around interviewing, is a little bit different. And so we looked at what are the norms around interviewing, what are the norms around resumes, those types of things to make sure that she was really prepared. And then for international students, this is a great resource to look at companies that have a history of hiring international students as you're looking for internships and in full-time positions. Another great resource that I want to talk about is Handshake. You already have a profile, even if you don't know it yet. But we really encourage you to fill out your profile. And if you make that profile available to employers and they are looking for somebody with a certain set of skills, then they can find your profile. This is also how you make appointments with our office. So if you're wanting to do those mock interviews, or if you're wanting to have somebody take a look at your resume, Handshake is a platform that our office uses. Also a great resource to look for on-campus jobs, local positions, internships, co-ops, full-time positions. It has a lot of great stuff. But it goes beyond posting internships and jobs. There's also a lot of great events that you can take a look at. A lot of career fairs are published on Handshake, so you can see when employers are coming to different career fairs. They'll post employer info sessions. If our office hosts any events, they'll show up on Handshake. And the last piece I'll mention is the Student Internship and Co-op Network. This is a really great thing to join. So I know I mentioned events on Handshake. If you go to that events tab, I think it's actually the first event that pops up. And so you can join that network. And if we receive notifications about internships or co-ops, the students in that network will receive messaging. And if we have different events, they'll receive messages. So that's a really great network to be a part of. All right. I know that was a lot of information, but I just wanted to provide a quick overview of some of the different resources that our office has, as well as the different ways that we work with students. But I am glad to stick around for a little bit and answer any questions that have come up for you all.
Well, thank you both so much for going through all of those details. I do see that we have a few questions in the chat. I think the first one's for you, Janine. It's really related to they see on the website the part-time work programs. It says does not maintain your full-time status. Does that mean you're not considered a full-time student if you're in a part-time work program? Oh, and sorry, you're on mute.
I forgot that I muted myself, so I'm sorry about that.
Yes.
But working in our full-time program, the about 40 hours per week does maintain your full-time student status. And that is important because if you go off on your own and do a work experience and you've had any previous student loans, those could become due for repayment if you're not enrolled in our program. So our program does maintain your full-time student status. However, our full-time status definition is not the same as financial aid's full-time status. So I wanted to just clarify that a little bit. So if you're working in a part-time position, say 4 to 31 hours per week, you are not considered a full-time student. So if you would take on a part-time internship over a fall or spring semester, you would need to take at least 12 credit hours to maintain your full-time student status. So in other words, you'd have 12 credit hours and you could work, 10 hours a week. And so that's how you would maintain the full-time student status there. The info sessions, oh, I'm sorry, Melena.
No, it's okay. No, I was just going to say I learn something new every day. So thank you so much for doing that. The next question in here is about how long is the mandatory information session good for? Do you need to attend a session for every semester that they wish to apply for a program, or is it just one time and you're done?
Well, luckily it is once and done. Once you attend the information session, then you do not have to attend it again. And that also goes for the orientation session. So once you attend, then you're done with both of those. And then if you want to enroll for a consecutive term, either a back-to-back situation or you're going to wait a semester or two and then enroll again, you do not have to attend those information sessions or orientations again. So that was a good question.
Excellent question.
Great question.
So the next question we have in here, I can take it, or if you all want to add extras, feel free to do. It says, is the Engineering Expo only open to freshmen? And so the Engineering Expo is one of the largest student-ran career fairs in the country, and it's typically early in the fall semester. It's organized through our Student Engineers Council, and there's 100+ employers that come to Blacksburg to recruit, hire full-time, part-time, co-ops, internships, you name it, they're looking to hire our Virginia Tech students. It is open to all College of Engineering students, and it's my understanding that even if you're not in the College of Engineering, you can attend as well. So definitely it's a great opportunity for any student to look for those opportunities. Is there anything else you all would like to add to that?
Yeah, I'm glad somebody asked about career fairs, because I was going to talk a little bit about that. Because actually, I hear the opposite from first-year students. They're like, well, why should I go to career fairs? There might not be employers looking to hire first-year students for internships, which one, I think it's becoming more popular for employers to take on first-year students. But I think that going in your first year is great, whether or not you find an opportunity. Because one, you can kind of see, all right, well, what kind of companies are out there? What kind of people are they looking for? And it's also a great opportunity to network, because you really want to network before you need it. I meet with a lot of seniors, and that's when they kind of start networking. Starting at your first, second year, that's the great time to do it, to start to build up those relationships with these employers, so that when an opportunity comes around, they already kind of know you a little bit. So I really encourage you, whether you're first year, second year, senior, go to these career fairs. And I think CS Source is the only restricted career fair. So let's say you're interested in doing a real estate internship, you can go to the real estate career fair. So you can go to any career fair that we have. CS Source is the only one that's restricted by major.
Awesome. And I really appreciate your advice about attending early. I know that some of our first year engineering faculty really encourage students just to go and walk around. So you also just get exposure to what a career fair is like. And so then again, you have some students that come out of there and they land an internship or a co-op for the next summer, which is fantastic. So you may go in thinking that you're just going to kind of get a lay of the land and land a job. You never know. So definitely take advantage of Expo and all the other career fair opportunities that are available. In the College of Engineering, some of the more popular ones, there are some that are by departments. So specifically for programs that are encouraging specific discipline-based career searches. But the big ones that we hear a lot about is the Engineering Expo, and then Cameo is one that we do in the spring semester, in addition to all of the ones that are specific within departments that they'll invite students to attend. So definitely be on the lookout for those. The next question that we have in the Q&A is, so if I was looking for a co-op or an internship next summer, would I start looking in the spring semester? When should I start looking?
Yeah, so this can vary by industry. For engineering, it's probably earlier than you think it is. So as Expo is early September. That's really when you should start looking for something in the summer, which I know might sound a little bit early, but a lot of companies are recruiting in that early fall for those summer opportunities. Another thing I'll mention about career fairs, I want to do a little plug, is that our office is trying to do more programming. And so the week before Expo, I'm actually hosting a career fair prep workshop, and I've invited a couple of employers. It'll be virtual. But so if you're sitting there and you're like, well, I don't know what to expect at a career fair, like, I don't know what to do or what to say to employers, you'll learn a lot about that if you attend this workshop that we have, and I'll send out more information about that. But yeah, so in terms of if you're looking for something in the summer, start looking early fall. But if you can't find anything, I wouldn't freak out, because there are still career fairs in that early spring. So if you're like, well, I didn't get something in the fall for the summer, I like, what's the point of looking? There's still going to be things in the spring. It's more common to look for things in early fall. And similar thing for full-time positions. If you are interested in an engineering or computing position and you're graduating in May, you would want to start looking in early fall.
Excellent. So the next question we have here is, if I do an internship the summer before my first year, but don't get an internship the next summer, does it look bad on my resume?
No, I mean, there's also a variety of reasons why people might decide not to do an internship. And if you don't get an internship, there's a lot of different things that you can do. So maybe you just decide like, well, I want to go travel, or, actually I want to have a part-time job. But if you do try to find an internship and you can't, certainly get in touch with our office, because we can talk to you about and brainstorm different ideas. I've worked with some students where, maybe they decide to do research, or maybe they decide to do some job shadowing to learn a little bit more about different career options. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. But no, it doesn't look bad. I mean, and honestly, like, you're not expected to have an internship every single semester. If you have a couple, great. If you have more than a couple, even better. But it's okay. It's not the end of the world if you don't get an internship for a summer.
Because occasionally, some students will also take classes in the summer, and sometimes they'll do an internship plus a class, or they might just do academic work. So it definitely doesn't look bad. The more experiences you have, the better, depending on the industry that you're going into. But that could even be as simple as job shadowing, which is, something that you could do during your winter break, or even during some of our class breaks. So like during our Thanksgiving holiday and so forth. So the next question we have in here is, if I can't find an open position for my specific major, is it worth it to find a different kind of position or different path? And so maybe you can talk a little bit more about where office can help support those students who are looking for opportunities and they can't find something.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely help students think outside of the box, and sometimes kind of getting back to that, what do you value in a position? Let's say you're restricted by location. Well, then that might decrease your options, but we can certainly help you reflect on, well, what were you hoping to get out of an internship? What kind of skills were you hoping to develop? And are there certain types of internships or opportunities that can still help you reach those goals? Because although like probably a number of experiences can help you get different skills, you do want to be intentional with the opportunities that you pursue, because each one can kind of build on top of one another and reach your final destination of a full-time position or graduate school or whatever it is that you're looking for.
Awesome. So if you're still hanging out with us and you have questions, feel free to utilize the Q&A feature, and we'll get all of those addressed. But Otherwise, I do want to thank Anya and Janine so much for being here today and doing this session as part of our orientation experience for the College of Engineering. But if you don't have any additional questions, feel free to log off whenever you'd like. We'll hang out for just a few more minutes and make sure everyone gets their questions addressed.